Hi everyone, Andrew here for ABELI Reviews, and today, just as the title suggests, we're going to go through the training, specifically under Training Simulations, and then Pilot Assessment Tutorial. This is a starting tutorial, but it's something that I think is really important to kind of go through. A lot of new people will come to this game and probably feel a little overwhelmed just in terms of the controls, what they're doing, even though these tutorials are rather dense and helpful, I think they're missing some of that additional commentary. So we're going to go ahead and complete each one of these. The first one we're going to go through is the pilot assessment, and this will be the conclusion of this video. So we'll only cover this one in this video, and then we'll do subsequent videos for the rest of these tutorials. So without further ado, let's begin the pilot assessment. So we'll go over here and hit start. So right now, obviously, what you're seeing is the game is loading, and it's even loading the ship that we're going to be testing or learning in. It's a Sidewinder. It's a very basic starting ship. It's actually the starting ship. And we're going to hear a narrator kind of talk to us, and we'll see his chat in the top left.
Welcome to Morton Dock. Make yourself comfortable while we finish some preliminary ship checks. My name's Theo Acosta, and I'll be running your Pilots Federation evaluation. Most pilots assigned to me earn their license. So, as long as you follow my instructions, you'll be a commander in no time.
Cool.
Oh, and before you...
More commentary.
I may sound like an Imperial, but I'm actually from an independent system.
Cool, so far, I'm not doing anything.
Flight control, combat, and frameshift drive use. This Sidewinder has been installed with a specialized computer that'll take control at certain points. Mostly you'll follow a series of objectives to guide your actions. These are shown in the info panel at the top right of the head-up display. Okay, you're good to go. Select auto launch from the options ahead of you when you're ready.
Perfect. So as he referenced, they're going to kind of guide us through this, and we're only going to have one option at a time. You can see right here, everything else is gray except auto launch. Now, one thing to keep in mind is I am playing with a controller, specifically an Xbox One controller, or whatever their newest version is, but it's an Xbox controller. So I'm using the directional pad. That's the little, looks like a plus. They're actually called directional pads. It's sort of in the bottom left-hand side of your controller, if that's what you also are using. And then I'm going to press A to select auto launch. Now, on your device, whatever you're playing with, that might be different. So if you do have questions or you'd like to use my control scheme, which we'll talk through this entire tutorial, I'm happy to share that with anybody that asks. Otherwise, just sort of follow along with your own controls, and they will be on screen for most of what you see happening moving forward in this tutorial. So I just clicked auto launch. Now I'm again not flying, and this is actually great because auto launch is something that exists in most ships that you can have. Now it kind of comes stock with most of the ships you'll buy. You can also remove it. So as I said before, he's going to kind of walk us through some of this stuff.
But this isn't a race. Each of the coming stages can be completed at your own pace.
Yeah, he's just talking through the tutorial, and I do encourage you to take the time if you're interested. The tutorials are really quite helpful. But again, like I said, I think they're almost more helpful if you have a little bit of extra context. Without that context, it is a little tricky. So that's why we're sort of making this series of videos and the other ones that you've seen on our channel. And what a pretty view.
Remarkable, isn't it? For so long, humanity gazed up at the stars in wonder. We're not distracted by one of Earth's many wars. And now, we glide between them without a second thought.
Okay, so our auto launch is done.
Here we are. Your first task is to demonstrate basic ship movements. A ship's trajectory is primarily controlled by pitch, yaw, and roll. Perform each of these now.
Awesome. So this is right now, he's going to have us do a few things. You can see in the top right of my screen, it says controlling your ship. We're trying to learn orientation. So the first one is pitch. And for me, that is LS, or left stick. And that's essentially the icon for the left stick of my controller. If I go like this, like I'm pushing up on my controller, for me, I play inverted, more like a pilot would. So when you pull back on the controller, you go up. So you're seeing me do those things right now. So I checked that off. Next is yaw. So let's do left stick again, but we'll do roll. So we're gonna roll next. Excellent. Now, for me, it doesn't look like it actually brought over my controller, but it's telling me A is my yaw. So what we're gonna see right now is if I can kind of trick it. Let's see. There we go. So that is yaw for A. Basically left and right. I probably could have done that differently, but A and D sort of move me side to side in that yaw. And what that's really doing is just moving your ship kind of at an angle. You can see here we're sort of looking left and right. I can sort of mimic that if I move some stuff around. I don't use a lot of those controls. But in any case, let's continue forward. So now we're going to increase our throttle. For me, that's going to be my right bumper. And you'll see in the bottom middle of my screen, if we kind of look down, I guess I can't even look down. They've really disabled everything. You'll see that bar there. That is showing my speed. So we've just throttled up. Perfect. So now we've completed that portion. What it'll probably ask us to do now is to slow down. And that's left bumper for me. Lovely.
Your throttle can also be pulled back from 0 to engage reverse thrust.
And let's do that. We'll keep pressing left. Left bumper. Look at that. We are moving forward now, or backwards now. And then, of course, if we press X on the keyboard, eventually that'll take us back. But we'll go ahead and increase that thrust. Now we're going to throw everything to 0. So we are now at 0.
Looks like you've got the hang of individual controls. Let's see if you can put them all together. Your next task is to guide your ship through a series of checkpoints.
So this is super fun.
Head towards the course, following the target indicator.
So we can see they want us to go through here. So we're going to go ahead and zoom a little closer. This is where yaw kind of comes into play. Look at that. Look how we've sort of positioned our ship all nice and neat. So we're going to go ahead and start flying towards this target. And any of you that have maybe played other flying games, or even I'm sort of thinking of like skiing games, right, where you're going down a hill and you have to hit individual flags. I think you would see that in like those old Nintendo 64 Wave Racer games. We basically have to hit all these targets, and you can see them kind of as I've zoomed about a bit here. So we're going to go ahead and get closer. Might even see if I can go a little faster just to get there. And what it's asking us to do is to essentially move forward into each one of these targets without making too big of a mess. So we're not going to speed. There really is no rush. And they even said that. We're not being timed. He just wants to make sure we can do this. And this is very helpful because you're going to use this, these skills, essentially, to, one, be in combat, navigate the stars, park, all the fun stuff, right? It's your driver's ed test. So here we go. We're doing pretty good so far. Ooh, we don't want to hit that. Let's slow down a bit and turn. There we go. There we go. Everything's kind of coming together nicely. We're just taking our time. And essentially all I'm using is my left joystick and my thrusters, the things we just covered. Big turn. There we go. Nothing else is really turned on for us yet, right? I can't move my head around. I'm very stationary. They've disabled a lot of those features, and that's great. Then we can focus on one thing at a time.
The angle and speed of your approach. See the blue marker beside the throttle gauge?
Yep, and they're pointing that out.
This indicates the optimum turning speed.
So I just put us in the optimal turning speed. What that means is if I'm in that blue little dotted space for the current speed I'm at, or essentially how many pips I've given my engine, this is the optimal space where I'm going to have the best turns. I'm going to have the best speed for my turns. That means my ship is going to be the most responsive when I'm in that blue dotted section. I, of course, can exceed that. It just means I'm maybe going to skid more. That's all. So far, not too bad. These turns are nice and simple, and these arrows are always pointing us to where we have to look next. There we go. Taking it nice and slow. Again, no rush. What we're really trying to do here is just make sure we understand the mechanics. All right. There we are. Let's continue to kind of get in line. Lovely. Looks like the next one's just right over to our top here.
You're approaching a particularly sharp turn, so I advise slowing down to prevent any mishaps.
So here's where we have a bit of a choice. Dare we slow down? I think we should, right? We're not here to get fancy. We are here to just make sure we can show we can do this. We're going to continue to take this curve nice and easy. There we go. We made it through. Cool, 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 cool. So everything's going well. It looks like we're going to have to go up quite a bit. You can even see these lighted arrows are trying to teach us that. Ooh, going inside again. And you can see here, we've stayed kind of right around that 70s speed range. We're not trying to go quick. We're just trying to practice. Of course, when you're out in open space, full throttle, baby, go all the way. But for right now, we're just trying to make sure we can pass the test. Perfect.
Your ship's boost function greatly increases
Now we gotta go
speed,
faster.
but use it wisely.
So we'll hit B to boost, and that is correct. B for me is boost. And now we're going all the way to 300, which is awesome. Looks like that arrow does have a turn. So we'll go ahead and see where it wants us to look once we get through here. Oh, I can't boost anymore.
That's the last checkpoint.
Awesome, so they're taking control for me.
It is an agile craft, and you handled it well.
All right, now we wait for our next task. Again, I'm not controlling anything. It's just going to walk me
A
through.
new icon has appeared on the sensor display in the center of your dashboard. This represents a nearby beacon, which you'll soon scan as part of your evaluation. Target the beacon before we continue.
Perfect. So because it's in front of me and I can see it marked there, I can just press Y or again T to target.
Analyze the beacon, but you need to deploy hard points first.
So this is really great. What you can see here is now, and kind of the bottom left of my screen, we can see that beacon sort of silhouetted as like a hologram. Just like on the right-hand side, you can see my ship. The shield is the 100%, and my ship's hull is the other 100%, the orange. Shield being blue, orange being the one below. Or if you're colorblind, the top one is shields, the lower one is the shield's hull. On the left, though, we can see the object we've actually targeted, and that is the training beacon. So the first thing they want us to do is we want to scan it. And in order to scan that, we need to deploy some hard points. Essentially, your hard points are your guns, your missiles, any of your scanning tools as well. So we're going to go ahead and pull that out. And it does look like we have two guns. We can see them pop up here. And then our data link.
Including weapons.
Great, he's saying the same thing.
With you. The beacon is relatively small, so you'll need to position yourself close to it.
So he wants us to move a little closer because we can see the data link scan ... is out of range. It's 1.3 kilometers away from us. So we're going to get a little bit closer. And as we get closer, we'll start to slow down. Once we get that sort of half a kilometer or 500 meters, we'll be set. So we'll get a little closer here. We're getting closer. I'm going to start to slow down just a little bit. That way we get closer. We can even see it in our view here too. It's much closer now. Slow down a bit more. Perfect. We are now within range. And of course, I can use RT, which is my right trigger, or mouse 1. I'm going to use my right trigger because that's what I'm holding. I just have to hold it in. And you can see it fills up on blue, and there's even a cute little animation.
Well done.
Perfect.
The data link scanner is a versatile tool that connects with network interfaces and various data points. You need to move to another area of this star system to continue your assessment, pilot. Rather than travel for the next year...
Yep, so he's going to talk to us about how we jump from systems to systems.
Speed by a few orders of magnitude. First, ensure that the ship is correctly secured. Your landing gear, cargo scoop, and hard points must all be retracted.
Okay, so in order for us to jump to another location, of course we could fly there, but just as he sort of joked, it would take about a year. Obviously, space is very large. So I'm going to press the select key again on my controller, or U, as you can see there. Those things go away. Excellent. Now we're going to go to Super Cruise. So we want to go to a new location. And I can already see that it's been targeted for me, and it's the Combat Training Area, Pilots Federation Combat Training Area. So if we start to look this way, you can kind of notice there's this little reticle kind of in the top left of my radar at the bottom of my screen there. You see that 30%? kind of dead center to the left at maybe 11 o'clock, if that radar is to be believed. Right next to that kind of lets me know that this object is sort of out of my range. And you can see that with the target text at the top of my screen as well. If we look up, I can see that thing start to fill in. Perfect. It's now in my viewport, and it's now dead center, just as that target is there. Now, that target's not always going to be there. The word target won't always be there. But we're ready to jump. So it's going to say, go ahead and press J for me to jump. And we can see that in the top right. J to enter Super Cruise. And it's going to finish charging. And now for it to sort of be triggered, I have to throttle up. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up. And then once we get to a certain point, what is it, 88 miles per hour, and then we're going to go back to the future. Perfect, so now we are in Super Cruise. And he's going to talk about it.
You're now accelerating towards a velocity comparative to the speed of light, measured in c. Super Cruise is used to navigate within a star system, allowing you to cover significant distances in minutes. Usually you'll retain control in Super Cruise, but on this occasion your ship's computer is following a preset path. This is a good time to familiarize yourself with a couple of the cockpit panels available to you.
Perfect, so we'll just follow his guide.
In the top left of your HUD is the comms panel, which displays pilot communications and contacts across several channels. The top right is your info panel. Entries here mostly relate to your ship's status, computer messages, and events happening around you. Ah, there we go. Welcome to Lightspeed.
Perfect. So you can see there he just called out two pieces of information for us. The chat in the top left, and of course the information on the top right. The information is going to change based on what you're doing. He'll probably also talk about the bottom left here shortly, and that's going to show out the distance and speed to the object we have targeted, right? So we're going to the combat training area. So it's starting to slow us down.
Speed markers on the dashboard. These are used to help you accurately disengage at your destination.
And just as he referenced that, right, we want to be in the blue
Your next lesson
on the
will
left.
introduce the basics of combat. Several static and mobile targets will be provided around a decommissioned megaship. We'll also cover some situational information about weaponry and target tracking. And yes, you'll get to shoot those weapons you saw earlier.
Perfect. So just as I said, we're going to get to practice some shooting. As you can see, our distance is closing in. Same thing for our speed. We need to have both of those be at the optimal space for us to drop out. So that means you have to slow down to kind of stay in line. As long as you stay in the blue on your main speed section, and you get to the blue, we'll drop out.
Reducing your ship's speed. The closer the body, the greater the effect.
Yes, so as he referenced, because we are close to this large planet and its rings, and we just passed one, the gravity actually affects us. So it makes us go slower. So if you're trying to get somewhere else and you're not going to that location, you might want to consider going around it further.
Before you start shooting, however, try analyzing the megaship with a data link scanner.
Cool. So let's pull out our hard points again, U, or for me it's select. And we're going to scan this section here. So it's already in range, so we're just going to go ahead and target it. Everything's targeted. We can see that there. We can even see on our little panel, kind of if we look to the left of our radar, it's targeted. We see a three-dimensional model of it. We're going to go ahead and hold in right trigger for me. And it scans the whole object. It kind of gives you more information about it.
Well done. It's often worth scanning objects you're unfamiliar with to learn more about them. Next, you need to activate your weapons by cycling to a different fire group.
Cool. So for me, changing between sort of, let's call this passive stuff, and then more aggressive objects like my weapons, is pressing A. And now you can see I have access to my weapons.
Now listed on your HUD. Fire groups allow you to manage your hard points efficiently. Let's begin the combat evaluation. Destroy several of the canisters.
Perfect. So I'm now able to target these objects, just as we've targeted other things. So you can see here it gets that gray line behind it, letting me basically know I could target it.
So you may need to move
Boom.
closer here.
And we'll get there in a second. I just kind of want to reference. As we sort of highlight these objects, you can see it's sort of highlighting whichever one I want as I sort of put it in my center view. So we're going to move a little closer just so we make sure to hit them. And we're going to blow up these blue canisters. All right, that's more than enough.
Thrusters
Excellent.
are particularly
Let's target
useful
another.
for navigating around large structures. Why not give them a try? Your cannon will automatically reload until the ammunition supply runs out. Meanwhile, your laser will fire until the capacitor is depleted, at which point it will need to recharge.
Yep, so that's the thing. I think that's really important, and it's good to notice this. Notice how I could just hold this thing in and it's going to shoot. I could just let the chain gun go and it's going to shoot. And it's going to go straight, and that's fine. But because we do want to target this object, because we want to know its health, we want to know when it's gone, it's always important to target whatever it is you're going after. And then you can notice its health shows up on the scan as well. So right now it's at 100%. Just look to the slightly left of our radar. You'll see that 100%. Now it says 82. Now it says 65%. We want to get it to 0, of course. Perfect. Let's get one more. And again, I could just shoot at it. Now I don't know its percentage, and I'm not targeted. This way, even if I'm not looking directly at it, everybody still hits it. I can kind of be slightly off center, and that's important when you're flying in space.
Let's dial up the challenge a notch, shall we? An unmanned craft has arrived nearby. These drones are used by the Pilots Federation as target
So we have a drone, so we're going to look up. I'm not even flying around right now, I'm just sitting stationary.
Craft into your sights and open fire.
I've targeted him. We're going to make sure, so this is super interesting. I think this is important. Notice how I have that targeted. He is a targeted ship. I can see him on my thing, but I want to actually hit him. So I need to get my dots in those circles. And you can see those two little dots are now in my target for him. Or on his ship. So we're going to go ahead. He's still in range, so we can hit him. Let's follow him a bit and get closer. So I'm just going to go around.
I recommend targeting your opponent.
There we go. We've got him targeted.
Notice how your reticules move towards your target.
Just as he said.
Gimbaled weapons offer a degree of aiming assistance.
And that's exactly correct. We have a gimbaled weapon, which basically means this is going to do a little bit of tracking. Good job, us.
Nice work. You may have noticed that multi-cannons are effective against unshielded targets. Another craft has arrived. This one is fitted with a shield generator. Helpfully, your burst laser is a thermal weapon, which excels at stripping away a target's shields.
Alright, we can see he's on the other side of the ship, so we're going to target him. Perfect, I see him now on radar. He is in range, so we can start hitting him. And exactly as the narrator said, we need to bring his shield down. And that's super important, because you can see here, he has shields just like me. That means my bullets are not going to do as much damage, so what we need is heat. And our laser, our burst laser specifically, is going to provide that added heat. As we get into range with him, ooh, he got away. Let's get around there and we'll chase him. We'll keep him in range. There we go. And we can even see that on our selection form on the bottom left there. We can see where we're hitting him, or where we were hitting them. Goodness, this guy's nimble. There we go. Yep, we can see our targets hitting his shield as well, and we're knocking it away. And we'll start chasing him. I'm not even worried about my chain gun yet. I just want my lasers to stay relatively close to him. I'm sure my chain gun will do damage, but not as much as the laser. Now we wait for the reload. There we go. Well done.
Consider me impressed. Your final target has dropped into the area. This time your opponent will fight back.
Ooh,
but its damage
let's get him.
capability has been greatly reduced. Your target will not react until it registers shield damage. Engage when ready.
Alright, so he's coming for us. Let's go for him too. I want to see if we do a little bullet damage to him. There we go. The combined damage seems to be helping. Looks like he took some shots at us too. You might have noticed him shooting his chain gun at us. We're just going to start to follow him. If we stay behind him, we can start doing some great damage. Perfect. Alright. Let's do a quick turn. Line him up, and let's eat away at his shield. Or his, I guess his hull now. His shield's gone. I don't think he's gonna make it away. Perfect. Great job.
That was the last
If you're
target.
following along at home, excellent work as well.
For a peaceful career, understanding the basics of combat is vital for a pilot's long-term survival. For advanced combat information, you should refer to the pilot's handbook, which we'll cover in more detail soon. The next step of your evaluation involves a hyperspace jump to a neighboring star system. On this occasion, your ship's computer has selected your destination for you. We'll cover selecting destinations manually soon. The mass lock indicator on the bottom right of the dashboard is active. This means a large object is in close proximity, preventing you from engaging the FSD. To resolve this, throttle up to move a safe distance away from the megaship.
So just as he referenced, mass lock basically means gravity, right? We're too close to something large, and its gravity is disrupting us. The large object being the station we were just shooting at and practicing at. We can kind of see it here. It's just way too close. So let's go ahead and get away from it. So I'll start to throttle up, and even recommended boosting. So let's do that. Now the final thing we need to do, though, is we need to get rid of our hard points, because you cannot jump to hyperspace with your hard points out. So we'll go ahead and press select,
When you are ready to travel
and they've been put away. We can see they're going away now, and now mass lock. We can see mass lock is now finished, so I'm ready to jump. All I have to do is hit J and everything's going to begin. And because I've already throttled up, I'm fast, it's just going to jump once the charge is finished. Had I slowed down, it would then say charging and then tell me to throttle up, just like it did the first time. And it's just reminding us, J charges the frameshift drive.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I always think this is pretty cool to see. And all we're doing is jumping to another system. That's all. It's very common, and it's something that's going to be a lot of fun once we start getting into the bit greater game. And you get this gorgeous view.
Technology has made the task of leaping between star systems appear trivial. Never let this simplicity distract from the marvel humanity has achieved. Your next stop is Quello Station. This time we'll employ the Supercruise Assist module to guide your approach. Open the external interface panel to your left and select the Navigation tab.
Okay, so you can look around with your head. I don't think it's going to allow me. It really wants me to use these pieces. So I'm just going to press 1 on my keyboard, and I'm going to look left. And then it brought up this panel.
The location list, and then select Supercruise Assist. It's the second option.
We can see that our mission, or the thing we want to select, is blue. I'm going to go ahead and press A. I believe spacebar will also do it. And even as they show there, W and S must be the default settings to let you go up and down. We're going to go ahead and press A. So now we've selected that station. Basically, it's our way of saying we're interested in it.
And start over. You can take your time to familiarize yourself with the panel controls.
There's a lot to see here, but it really is quite simple once you've given it a little bit of time to get used to. So we could lock on that destination, or like he'd referenced, this computer, or this ship, has a supercruise computer. Basically, it's going to do all the hard work for us. So we're going to go ahead and select this. Let's go ahead and hit backspace or B to go back. So now we're back at our normal view. We can see we've targeted that station, and for us to essentially begin the auto computer,
Will help you orient yourself.
all we have to do is look at it. And Supercruise is going to take over. I didn't have to throttle up. Supercruise took care of everything. Actually, I had to throttle down, if you will.
Your ship is now bound for Quello Station.
And he's probably going to talk to us a little bit, and we'll just learn more about the tutorial level that we're currently in. But essentially, we covered quite a bit, right? We navigated about a station. We learned how to thrust. Oh, here we go.
Panels either side of your chair. The external panel is primarily used to interact with the galaxy around you. For example, you can access maps, display contracts, and review nearby objects. Meanwhile, the internal panel displays information about you and your ship. You can adjust module functions, check your records, and access the codex, among other things.
So like he referenced, I just pressed 4. If we can go back, we can see that. But if I press 4, I look to my panel on the right. And you can essentially use your bumpers or whatever your controllers are. For me, on this controller...
Often wonder what their first step into the galaxy should be. The pilot's
What a chatty
handbook is
guy.
a great source of on various ship functions that aren't covered in this evaluation. You can find the pilot's handbook in the codex, accessible on the home screen via the internal interface panel.
Boop. And we can look at that later. But it's right here. It's essentially the codex.
Your ship is also emitting one. The position of each correlates with their respective sensor display icons. In a moment, we'll be going through the docking process. This will cover docking permissions and a standard landing pad approach.
He was referencing the wake, that because we're essentially going fast as the speed of light to allow us to travel these distances, everybody leaves a wake behind. That's how you can track other pilots. If you're a bounty hunter, this is very helpful. We'll cover that in a later video. But overall, like you said, panel on your left, stuff around you. Panel on the right, information about your ship. Outside, inside.
Welcome to Quillo Station. This is the final stretch. You'll dock here shortly, but I'd like you to position your ship near the starport's access corridor first.
Alright, so he basically just wants us to get closer.
Starports are the backbone of humanity's operations throughout inhabited space. They provide mission boards, the commodities market, a number of specialized contacts, and various ship facilities. Most pilot business is conducted via the Starport Services interface. I recommend familiarizing yourself with this screen when docked.
If you watched our previous videos, you know you have to be within 7.5 kilometers to dock. So that's what we're essentially doing. I would imagine this tutorial wants us to get a little closer. So we'll continue to get closer. And the access corridor is essentially the entrance, and you see that right here. Kind of in front of us. It looks like an opening.
Good. Ease off the throttle and hold position here. Oh, and try not to block the access corridor.
That's true, because it's an exit for other people too.
We'll be using the docking computer for this landing. You can always dock manually in future, of course, but practice in a training simulation first. Whichever method you use, all ships must seek docking permission before approaching a landing pad. To request docking permission, open your external interface panel and select the Contacts tab. Then select Quillo Station in the list, followed by Request Docking in the Information panel.
So if you've seen our much shorter videos about docking, we're going to go through the exact same process again. Go to our interface panel. We're going to go to Contacts. I'm going to hit my tabs because I don't want to be in navigation. We're not going elsewhere. There's nothing to spend money on or, where your bonuses and stuff are. We'll talk about that later. There's Contacts. And the only things that are here right now is this station. So I'm just going to use my directional key and go to the right. West docking.
Docking permission authorized.
And the second they give me that okay, our docking computer begins.
The compass will point towards your designated pad.
And you get some lovely music.
Within 7.5 kilometers of a starport for a docking request to be considered.
One of the things that's really nice is that Super Cruise Assist and the auto docking. I think those things are really fun if you're new, and you really should practice them, but they're also a little complex at first, right? Learning how to slow down, speed up, figuring out where your docking pad is and stations you're not familiar with. So what I would do is let the computer do them a few times, and then every so often try to do it yourself, just to get an understanding and a feeling for your ship, because every ship's going to be different in size too. So understanding when you're trying to land or dock, understanding how big you are and knowing if you can be this close is very helpful. It's also good just to be aware of the area around you. It's kind of like changing your oil. Maybe every now and then you should learn how to do that and then let others do it if you're busy.
Lighting gear deployed.
And it even took care of the landing gear. We just get to sit here and enjoy the view.
In a moment, the sensor display will switch to the precision approach display, which helps you accurately set belly down on the landing pad.
And the precision approach display shows up for everybody, not just the docking computer. When you get close to something, it does start turning on.
Docking procedure complete. Engaging pad restraints. Let's get your ship ready. Congratulations, Commander. Your evaluation has been successful, and a license is being assigned to you as I speak. We just need to finalize your credentials. Enter the hangar to exit this evaluation.
Yep, and that's just getting us off this pad. It's polite to do that anyway, so we don't waste a spot. We're going to go to the right, click Go to Hangar.
It's time to blaze your
Basically
own
finds
trail
us a
across the
parking
galaxy.
spot.
The manner in which which you do so is up to you.
Great job, everybody. I hope this information was helpful. I hope you learned something, and I hope you give it a try yourself. Try to complete the training. If you have any questions, you run into any issues, you know how to get a hold of us. There's comments in the YouTube section, and we're always happy to help. Otherwise, stay safe. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.